We said there's 8 that are early enrollees, and I can go back over those if we need to. Also, uniquely, the NCAA has said if these guys can finish their high school in time, they can come and work out in the bowl game. Now, they have to have 5 days in shorts, so none of them will be able to come and work out in pads. But we may have a few that finish in time. They can come down. They can't get the bowl gifts. They can't go to the bowl game, but they can work out in shorts. They can be in all the meetings. They can move in their dorm. They can get their roommates. They can leave their stuff here when they come back in January, if they're January enrollees only, and get some workout time, and then we can actually help them get back home. So we feel like that we'll have 4 or 5 of those. When we know exactly who those are, Jeremy will get you those as well. But really, really excited about the class. You can see why. They're smart, they're high character, they've got tremendous families, 17 captains, 17 therefore leaders. They're aggressive. Can't wait to get them in here and take the next step. We said right now we had an okay recruiting class the first year. We had a top 12 recruiting class this year. This is going to be a top 10 recruiting class, and the better players you get, the more games you win. And to be an upper level team like we want to get to, we've got to have the best recruits in the country, and I'm so proud of this staff that that's what they've done. They fought odds. We didn't have the year we wanted, and still we weren't sitting around last night worried about flips, worried about guys backing out on us. These are very high character families and high character people, and I didn't even get a call last night. I got nervous because it was too quiet, because they all actually did what they told us they were going to do. So, Mark, questions from anybody?
Thanks, Coach. We got them lined up here so far. We will begin with Andrew Jones. Go ahead, Andrew.
Hey, Coach, you just kind of hit on it here a second ago. A lot of people, when they look at the program, they see the results on the field and some of the inconsistency, and they kind of weigh heavily on that. But how much does this class and the fact that these kids did stay solid with their commitments through a challenging year, what does that say about the vision of the program that you've sold and some of the evidence that they can see maybe behind the scenes about where the program is headed?
Andrew, it says everything. These young guys can see where we're headed. And I think it's such a tribute to our players on our current team. It tells you that they have convinced these young people that they love it here. It's a tremendous place to go to school, and we're about to be really good. And what we've got, and I said it in the last press conference, we're getting really good players that aren't a great team yet. And when we lost those 5 guys last year, those were superstars, and they're all playing. So we lost the core of our team other than Sam, and now we've got to rebuild that and move back up. So we went from the worst team in the league to upper level team in the league, a lot because of those 5 guys. We lose them. We're back to middle of the league. We're bringing in great players, and now we've got to go back to the upper level of the league to get where we want to go.
And staying on that, what does it say with respect to Andre Green and Zach both committing in November, so long after you guys have been in the season and had some ups and downs? What does that kind of tell you about the pitch that you guys are giving them and the fact that they see it as well?
Yeah, Andrew, we've been recruiting these young people for 2 years. So you get relationships, and recruiting is all about relationships. And you talk to them all week. I mean, you talk to them, some coaches, when you have unlimited calls, will talk to these guys every night. And you get some guys that just fall in love with the assistant coach. They obviously have to like the program from afar, the university from afar. They wouldn't come and look. Again, Andre Green, from being a little kid, he wanted to be here. I mean, this was his place, and maybe because Mom ran track over at Central, and maybe she grew up liking the place, and he's close to home. Zach Rice was Andre was a fight, but Zach Rice was a fight as well, because those 2 guys were recruited by everybody in the country, and when you see that they chose us, that just shows you what 2 of the best players in the country thought about the future of this place and where we're headed. So I'm so excited that they would trust us. I'm even more excited that our players would be honest with them, and they saw enough here that they wanted to come, because we're competing with the best football playing universities in the country. And it was just like Andre Green. We're sitting there in his school last week, a couple of weeks ago, and his dad said we looked at just football schools and we threw them out. We looked at just academic schools, we threw them out. And we looked in the middle here, and the University of North Carolina was a great academic school that we feel like has a chance to win all the games. And I think that's what you have to do. This place is special. And what we've got to do as coaches is keep raising the level so we can win all the games. And then we're going to continue to recruit like this every year.
Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew.
Okay, let's go to Dina King.
Hey, Coach, got a question about a couple guys, two big five-star elite guys in the trenches. How important was it to land Travis Shaw, who the #1 player in the state? You talk about keeping guys in state and then going to Virginia and landing their #1 player in the state in Zach Rice.
Yes, Dina, thank you. It's a great question, and I missed this in the opening. Zach and Travis are very good friends, and it was just a year where things happened well for us. They were playing on the same Pee Wee teams when they were 12 and 13 years old. Travis sent me a picture the other day that I'll try to get Jeremy to get to you of Zach and Travis competing as 12 and 13-year-olds. And then I think they played on some basketball teams together. So those two grew up being really good friends. Both of them have aspirations of being pro players, and they want to compete against each other in practice. So they've laughed about, man, I want to go against the best every day. And those two are two of the best that play in college football. So it really, really helped us that they had a relationship. You start looking at Travis's family. He's got, I was at the house the other day, and there's about 40 people there, 30 or 40 people. He got a tremendous family around him, and they didn't want him to go far. They want to see him play. And I think that was a key factor in this. And he's such a guy that takes pride in Greensboro, and he takes pride in Grimsley High School. It was so proud when he won the state championship in Kenan Stadium. But he's about this state, and he wants to be one of the best players to ever play here, but also play in this state. And then Zach just kind of grew with us. He fell in love with Stacy Searles. He loved the fact that the Giants offered Stacy a job last year. Stacy got some coordinator offers. You start looking at Stacy's resume with the number of NFL players he's coached. And any young lineman that comes in here, they're going to come in here thinking that they've got a chance to play in the NFL because they have an NFL-type coach. And I love the parents. I love the families. I fell in love with them as a group. They're fun. We were very, very direct and honest with all of them, and they wanted a lot like Andre Green wanted. They wanted a great academic school with a chance to win all the games. And we've got the great academic program. We're showing signs that we can win all the games. Now we've got to take the next step and start doing that.
Thank you, and congratulations on your class.
Thank you, Dana.
Greg Barnes, go ahead.
Hey, Mac, dating back to your first stint here in Chapel Hill, you've really placed an emphasis on in-state everything, whether it be recruiting or on the field in the falls. In this class, though, you signed about twice as many kids from Virginia as North Carolina. What was the key for your staff to be able to go into Virginia and sign so many of their best players?
Greg, it was an interesting year anyway with COVID, or year and a half for all of us. So there's probably some guys that all of us in college football missed this year because we didn't get to go watch them practice. We didn't get to have them in camps as easily. And the other thing is none of us knew in the spring how many scholarships we're going to have. And then the transfer portal, some people would rather take an older corner than take a high school guy, especially coaches that feel like they're in trouble and they need to win quicker. So this whole year and a half process with transfer portal and COVID kind of changed everything. So we didn't get out as much in our state. But we're fortunate that when North Carolina's been good, they've always had great players from the state of Virginia. Always. And that's an area that we know we've got to continue to recruit. There's no doubt that Jay Bateman being from Richmond helps us. Corey Holliday is from Richmond. Dwight Hollier's from Hampton. Dre Bly's from 757. So we've got a lot of presence. I'm probably losing somebody, Jeremy, without thinking about it much, but we've got a tremendous presence in that state anyway, and it's an easy drive. Our fans have helped. It's a fun game day. So I just feel like, Greg, that's going to be our footprint. We're going to be Virginia and North Carolina. And like last year, it was nearly all North Carolina. And then you get one from South Carolina and a couple from Georgia, but that's who we are. And then this year we had to go find another linebacker, so we actually went to Chicago and went to South Carolina to find the 2 linebackers. But what we want to do is sign our classes from that footprint. And then we will go outside, but there's going to have to be a really good reason to go outside. It needs to be a great player, and it also needs to be a person with outstanding academics.
Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Martin.
Next question.
Hey, Coach Brown, you've touched on this a little bit, but going in and getting Zach Rice, Travis Shaw, George Pettaway, Andre Green, some of these the high-end, top of your class guys, and beating out some of the big national programs. What does that kind of say about that? And what do you think about what you did to get those guys to commit to your school over some of the, Georgia, Alabama, Clemson's?
Ross, I think it's another great question, because people look at the top 10 in recruiting and they wonder why we're in there with a 6'6" team. And number one, I'm so proud of this staff. We hired a staff that really fits this area geographically. You go back and look at the guys, just about every guy on this staff has had lots of years of recruiting our footprint. And that was very, very important to do that. Then you look at, there was a change at Virginia, there was a change at Virginia Tech, there was a change at Miami, there's a change at Duke. And then you start looking at the continuity that we've had, and the high school coaches know our coaches. Coach Fedora told me one of the problems he had is he changed coaches so much that the high school coaches didn't see the same guy walk into school, and they didn't feel close to him. So we've got continuity. The guys have done a tremendous job recruiting. People don't understand. These guys, as I said earlier, have been recruited for 2 years. And that's very, very important. And you also have to be able to dream, and you have to look forward. And young people are seeing that we had a great chance to beat Pittsburgh. They won our league. That's how close we are. We had a great chance to beat NC State. And they've got a tremendous team and had a great year. So everybody can see how close we are. We got much better at the end of the year than we did as we started. So it's here. We've just got to finish.
Yeah. And do you think you fulfilled all your positional needs? And kind of, if so, along those same lines, what do you think you really needed positionally in this class that you wanted to fulfill? I know you have 3 edge rushers, 3 offensive linemen. Is there anything else that you really needed and wanted to get?
The transfer portal has changed everything, Ross, as far as roster management. When Eugene Asante, who I love, left, 2 weeks ago, now you need another linebacker. And it's at the end of the year, and it's the end of recruiting. So you have to look at the transfer portal, and you have to look at the potential of another linebacker that's out there that didn't sign today that's going to wait till February. We've got 3 defensive backs that had operations. So we get thin there. You could lose both Storm and Tony next year at corner. So you're thin there. So you constantly look at the possibility of another corner. I love the fact Will Hardy came because we're thin at young safety. And I think that really filled a need that we didn't know for sure we were going to get when we got here. You can't get enough pass rushers. You can't get enough big people. We feel good about our quarterback room moving forward. We feel like the 2 receivers that we got were really, really good, but we lost 2 receivers during the year. So do we need one more? And we'll have to look at that. And is there still one out there that didn't sign? Or again, do you be more aggressive with the transfer portal? There's 2 or 3 things that we've talked about, Ross, this week. Number one, transfer portal changes everything. And you've got 3 or 4 different things that happen with a transfer portal. You've got some guys that are going to quit during the middle of the season. That affects your depth and roster. But also, do you look at a young guy that quits on his team at the middle of the season out there? So that's one thing you have to decide. Secondly, you've got a guy that loses his coach, whether it's a coach retiring, whether it's a coach leaving, or a coach getting fired. Then those guys are more likely, really good players are more likely to look to leave and look at other programs. So that's something you have to look at, and you've got to save some scholarships now. If you can get a great player that seasons from another team after he goes in the transfer portal, and then you may have some guys that go to the NFL. Like we'll sit here right now and we're waiting to see if Marcus McKeithen will go to the NFL and declare for the draft. We're waiting to see if Easy's going to go declare for the draft or stay. We don't know. We've got no idea as we sit here today whether we're going to have them in a month or not. And we won't know, I think the deadline's January 17th. So roster management is more difficult than ever before with trying to figure out your depth, trying to figure out who's there, who's not. You set on who you want in recruiting, and then you lose 4 guys. And then you've got to go find them somewhere else. So I challenged the staff this morning, you've got to evaluate better than ever before, because you can't make mistakes on your team and then you have some leave and you're sitting there with no depth and you're in bad trouble. And the second thing you got to do is you got to develop better. I ask our coaches, would you put any scholarship player that we have in the game right now? And if not, we're not doing our job, because you should have been developing them. Even though they're maybe a third team safety, you may have to use him, because you could have somebody leave now at any time. So better evaluation, better development of players, and me doing a great job of trying to stay organized and make sure that I've always got us enough players available to play are probably more challenging now than they've ever been. Thank you, Ross.
Let's go over to CL Brown.
Hey, Mac, obviously you've known Dre Bly for close to 30 years now. When you first came back for this second tenure and brought him on staff, did you envision, kind of with his personality and everything, did you envision he could be this kind of recruiter that could have the kind of success he helped you guys have this year?
CL, I did. And I wasn't sure that he would be as powerful a presence as he is, but he's done it. He's been there. He's in the Hall of Fame. And he's still young enough. He goes out there and competes with them in practice. And they love him as a person, but every day he coaches, he becomes a better coach on the field. And he's just got an electric personality. Dre can talk to anybody about anything, and it's really translated into being an outstanding recruiter.
And from your experience, how, I know you guys don't go into homes telling kids they can play as a freshman, but is there a certain percentage of kids in this class or any incoming class that you take in that you expect, hey, we're going to have to play, X amount?
Yes, CL, and we try not to tell them. Very seldom. We can say, here's where we see you. But you're going to have to earn your right to play. You're going to have to compete every day, and that's different in some cases in high school. And it's a little bit different. A 5-star basketball player can play a lot sooner in some cases than a 5-star football player, because it's just different. You've got to be more physical in football in some cases than you do basketball. And so we have to be careful that when we bring a 5-star in, or a 4-star in, and they've got all this publicity, they're just not going to walk in there and play. They have to learn. And that's something that we talk to every young person about. We're working so hard right now in bowl practice. We have 14 practices. We're working really, really hard to have a spring practice with our young ones now, and that'll give us such an advantage over people who aren't coaching their team right now, because then we'll get another 15 days in the spring. So that's 29, 30 days that other people don't have, that we have to get better.
All right, we'll close up today. We got one more question from Aaron Beard. Go ahead, Aaron.
Hey, Mac, this is sort of unrelated to signing day as much as COVID right now. Are you guys planning on any special precautions to deal with protocols with these, the higher tests we're seeing in the pro leagues and some college basketball games getting canceled of late?
Yeah, Aaron, it's great timing for the question because we had a long talk about it in the staff meeting today. For whatever reason, it's just all back out there and it's popped up, and we wear a mask everywhere we go, and we've been very, very careful, and knock on wood with luck, but we haven't had one guy that didn't get to play this year because of COVID. And I've told the guys, just be really, really careful. If we're not careful across our country, we get careless, get a little sloppy because we're okay. We're not seeing as many sick people in our families and our homes, and then it bites you. So we're really challenging our guys to step up and do that. But our doctors have been good. Our protocols have been in place for now probably 2 years, I guess, Aaron. I thought we'd be through with masks by summer, and here we are. And it's funny, I go to different parts of the country in recruiting, nobody's wearing a mask. I mean, they don't seem to even know there's a virus. And then I go to other places and you can't get out of your car without having your mask. So we're all over the place as a country, but we're being very, very careful here, and we're asking our players to do it. And the large majority of our team is vaccinated, and our staff. So we feel like that helps us and makes it safer as well.
Just to follow up, do you anticipate maybe doing any additional protocols or measures, or you're just going to kind of stick with what you've done to this point, it sounds like?
Aaron, we're going to keep doing what we're doing because it's working. And all we're doing, like in the morning, I'm going to show everybody that popped up today from a pro team, or I saw Cornell University shut down and for some reasons, and all of COVID, they cut down some of their stuff. So we put that up on the board every morning and say, guys, this is real. It's out there. This pro team has 8 that can't play. This head coach isn't going to be able to coach this weekend. So don't let up. Be really smart and be really careful. And then we won't practice Saturday. We'll have meetings in the morning. When you're off in the afternoon or Saturday night, don't put yourself in jeopardy. Let's be really smart and be really careful.
Thank you.
And Mark, if I could say one other thing before we close it down, kind of to CL. One of the things that's happened, CL, to help our recruiting so much, I believe, is our first year you get a guy like Sam Howell, and he flips from Florida State, and he made it okay for all the other kids to come. And a Desmond Evans comes that was a really highly recruited guy. And then you get the next year you got guys like Javari Ritzie and Ra Dilworth and Keyshawn Silver. They're being recruited by everybody in the country. Diego Pounds, and I'll miss some. I don't have a list in front of me. But so all these guys start saying, hey, man, let's stay at home. Let's stay at home and win big here. And then last year you get Tony Grimes to join that. And that makes it okay for these other kids because it's cool when the best players in your state choose North Carolina. It's cool for you to say, man, I need to look at that. What's going on there? I want to go be part of this. And I really think a lot of that's what's happened to us. And then a Tony comes here and has success. Dez is having great success. And Ritzie's playing as a freshman. And Sam's been one of the best quarterbacks in the country. Then Drake May commits to Alabama and he flips and comes here. So everybody says, why is that, man? Let's go look. And I think that's probably as much to do with our recruiting right now as anything else. Now, the university stepped up. We've got brand new facilities, which we can go over next time we meet. We've got a new training room that's going to start in the spring. We're going to redo our players' lounge. We're redoing an outdoor area. That's phase 1. Phase 2, we're redoing a weight room. We're going to build an 18,000 square foot weight room. And phase 3, we're going to end up redoing our complete locker room and making it really twice as big as it is right now. So the university stepped up. Our fans and boosters have stepped up, and they've given us a lot of money to do the things we need to do, even during COVID. They see that our guys are playing hard. They see they're having fun. We're having academic success. But still, the Sam Howells, the Drake Mays, all those Tony Grimes, all those guys coming, everybody looks, and they're on Twitter all the time now. We got social media. So they're saying, man, let's go look. There must be something there. And then Sam tells them why he came. Drake tells them why they came. Our players are our best recruiters. And I will actually show them the video you just saw in the morning at our team meeting before practice and thank them for the recruiting that they did for us.
Great. Thanks,
Mark.
Coach. Appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Thanks. You all be safe, and I'll see you in a week.